What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to ForTheFans for the 15th of February 2016. Coming up in today's show, we review what was actually a Super Sunday for once, Leicester v Arsenal, City v Spurs, and of course the ForTheFans derby as Liverpool met Villa. We also discuss some of the other games going on in the Premier League, and of course we have another one of Ben's fantastic features to kickstart the show. Let's get into this.
Hello there, listeners. Welcome back to For the Fans Show, episode, I say episode all week. It's the 15th of February as we record. Is it 20th?
I've counted, you see, I thought I'd get excited.
Really?
If people are eagle-eyed, they'll know that the file for this week is numbered 21. I'm not going to explain why the numbers are out of sync, but they happen for weeks.
Introducing my two co-hosts, we'll start with Jack. How are you doing?
I'm not bad. I mean, I missed out on some terrific football on Sunday. I missed the latter two games, unfortunately.
Well, you're doing a football podcast. Open with that. Well done, Jack.
We've got a Villa fan here, so
good work. Yeah, Callum is also
Why don't you
here.
ask me how I'm doing, Ben?
Callum, how are you doing right now?
I've been better.
Okay, not unsurprising.
And I didn't see that football match either.
So if you're here 50 seconds in and you're still enjoying the football content that's going to be provided today, be aware that this is a bit of a one-man show. Jack and Keno are also here to add input if necessary.
I didn't see all the Saturday games.
And to begin, good, well done. Well done.
The non-important.
The ones that didn't matter. Let's kick things off then with this week's feature. Now, you're going to have to be using your brains here, so if anyone's doing anything else outside of this feature, you may well suffer the consequences.
Right. No pizza being ordered
brain.
This week.
Of the game. No pizza has been ordered. Fantastic. Right then, Leicester City are dangerously close to winning the Premier League. So we're going to focus on previous players that have won the Premier League. Now, the format for the feature goes a little bit like this, gentlemen. Now, we're excluding English players. You give me a country, and then you get as many points as names you can give me for players from that country that have won the Premier League.
Are you picking the countries, Ben? Or
no, I'm not. Well, but let me explain. The less points you end up with... Now, how does this work? No, the more points you end up with, the better. But if you go for a country that has only got one winner, and you can ask me for the country, you get an extra 3 points, let's say. So if you want to go for an extra 3 points, you can ask me for the country and tell me the winner, okay? But by and large, you get as many points as you can for countries that have,
so
have
can
got
we
players
ask,
from the Premier League.
Could I say, for example... does Marley have one player? And if you say yes, then I give the player.
No, you can say, give me a nation. In fact, let's do that instead. Change the feature. I'll give you the nation. You tell me the player that came from that nation who's won the Premier League. Right? Yeah, okay, that's more simple. We'll do that instead. Who would like to go first?
Me.
Okay.
So get excited. Excited.
Okay. The country is Bosnia and Herzegovina.
That would
Bosnia.
be Edin Dzeko.
Correct. Point.
Boom.
Callum, the country's Bulgaria.
Can I come in if he doesn't?
No.
Berbatov.
Correct. Point. Very well done so far, gentlemen.
We know what we're
is there only
about.
one?
There's only one. Yeah, only one.
Oh, I thought we were getting as many as we can.
No, we've changed it. It's the teams that have had one winner from said country.
Okay.
Jack, Uruguay.
I was about to say
Suarez.
Uruguay.
Actually, that'd be Diego Forlan of Manchester United.
There is a chance to steal as well, I think, actually. You can take.
I got a little bit.
I was waiting there. I was waiting to count.
Keno, the country is Mexico.
Oh, Javier Hernandez?
Correct. Doing very well, gentlemen. I'm giving you the easy ones to start off with. I hope you're aware of that.
Yeah.
Jack, Ghana.
Essien.
Correct.
Ooh,
the last knowledge bombs right there.
The last of the easy ones. South Korea.
Park Ji-sung.
Correct. Now, let's hot things up a little bit, shall we?
I'm not ready for this.
Jack.
Lots of Man United players.
Austria.
Oh, bloody hell. I mean, Yeah, you're
That
right.
escalated quickly.
The easy ones have gone, haven't they, now?
Yeah.
I mean, the issue I've got is I'm trying to think of Austrian footballers. My mind is literally blank.
For half a point, I'll give you the year.
See, that's probably not going to help me,
Okay.
but I'll have it.
Can you give us the year anyway?
97, 98.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking.
Who won it in 96? United won the treble the year later, but did they win it the year before? They must have done.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Oh, okay.
5, 4, 3,
I must
2,
admit, I don't know this one.
1.
No, I don't have a clue.
The answer is goalkeeper Alex Manninger. Plays for Arsenal.
Oh, of course it is.
Unlucky. Keno, over to you. No points for Jack there. I'm
Hello.
going to type a 0. The country is Romania.
Adrian Mutu.
Incorrect. The
I
correct,
like this.
It's a good
shout.
guess, though, isn't
Jack,
it?
for a steal, Jack?
Honestly, not a clue.
Okay, the correct answer is, well, I'll give you the year, 13-14.
Oh,
Ah. Correct answer is Costel Pantilimon with Manchester City.
Did he actually get a medal?
Yeah.
Did he play enough games for the
Yeah,
medal?
you get a medal. Yeah, I think for goalkeepers it's slightly different.
Okay, that makes sense. 'Cause
was
it's
that-
like 7 games or something.
Yeah.
to take part in.
Jack, we're coming back over to you, and we're going to Iceland.
Oh, good Johnson.
Good.
Boom.
Callum,
I would have known that one.
Italy.
Only one Italian winner.
Yeah. Surprising, isn't it?
I mean, that blows my mind.
That's like sort of put me off. I don't know.
I'm thinking of all the Italian players. They all play in Serie A.
I can't. Yeah. Can you give me the year for half a point? Because it depends what era of Italian we're
The
talking.
year is 11-12.
Oh, I'm ready for the steal.
For half a point.
Oh.
Jack, you get the half a point if you want it.
Well,
Oh, Callum, 5.
I'm going to kick myself so much.
4,
City.
3,
I don't know.
2.
Oh, Makeda?
No, incorrect. Jack,
No.
for half a point.
City, isn't it? I don't know.
is it City who won that year?
Jack, for half a point.
Was it City who won that year?
I can't tell you that, I'm afraid.
What year was it? 11-12?
Yep. Come on.
Oh, it is
The correct
City as
answer
well.
is Mario
Wait,
Balotelli.
Oh,
You were
that's
too
so
late.
obvious.
It is so obvious.
No.
Disappointing.
I can't believe he's the only Italian to ever win the Premier League.
Four more rounds.
amazing.
Jack. Is it Jack?
Yeah.
South Africa.
South Africa?
Great feature, Ben. Thank you.
I mean, could I have a year?
The year is 2002-2003, which hasn't helped you at all.
Wasn't that United?
I can't tell you.
I think it was. Who the fuck was South African playing for
Oh,
United?
I know it.
Oh, Callum is in there.
I think.
Jack, I'm going to press you. Callum's activated the 5, 4, 3,
I'm not ready.
2,
I'm
1.
not ready. Yeah, go
Callum
on.
for half a point.
Was it Quentin Fortune?
Half a point goes to
Yes.
Callum Keane with a steal. Very good.
The knowledge.
There was Quentin Fortune. Next, we're going to go to Colombia. Is that for Keno? I think it is. Yeah, Keno.
Colombia.
Colombia.
Off the top of my head, I am not sure. Just trying to. Oh no! I was. Chelsea
Jack
signed
can
Radamel
activate-
Falcao in the summer.
Jack can activate the 5-second countdown.
5.
Can you give me the year, Ben, first?
I can give you the
4,
year. The year.
3.
No, Jack, calm down. 14-15.
I know who it is.
No, that's totally
Come on, you've got to pass it now, surely.
Oh, Quadrado.
The
No.
late doors, half a point. The
Yes.
answer is
You
Quadrado.
can't give him that.
Well, I am doing, because I'm in charge.
I mean, that's a fix. The listeners
Thanks, Ben.
have seen it.
Final round, folks.
Okay.
Jack. Japan.
Oh, Jack, come on! You need to know this. It's
Oh, he
just-
does. Japan
Oh.
is the country.
I want to say Shinji Okazaki, but that's this year.
Oh, could be 2.
Joke. I'm trying to think of Japanese players who have played. I feel like I should know. Can I have the year?
The year was 12-13.
So that's United.
Come on,
5,
Jack.
4, 3.
What the fuck?
2.
Kagawa. Jeez,
Correct.
my brain just
Blimey,
didn't want to
Charlie.
work there.
When
Sorry.
the pressure's on.
The final player. This is to level
The worst,
it, Kino.
the worst thing is, before when you were saying we could pick nations, I actually thought I'll go for Japan and I'll pick Kagawa because that's the worst thing about it all.
Okay, here we go. Kino, this is to level it and take it to a tiebreaker.
Oh, no.
The country is Ecuador.
Oh,
I know it. And
a half a point will not suffice.
I know it. This is easy.
It is easy. You can't ask for it.
Antonio Valencia.
Correct. There
Yes.
we go to the
Decider.
tiebreaker.
Jack thought he had me. He thought he had me.
Fastest finger first, gentlemen. Okay.
Yeah.
There's one player to have won the Premier League. I want the name immediately. From Trinidad and Tobago.
Dwight York.
Callum Keane is this week's
Yes!
winner. The correct answer is Dwight York.
Ex-villain.
The worst thing of all is I was about to shout Kenwyn Jones. and then I was like, he's not won it.
That
Bite
literally
your
is the
tongue.
worst thing. So yeah, Callum, well done. That was good. I feel like
It was a close contest, that was
I
as
had
well.
a plan going in, and that was actually a better version of what I
It
planned.
was.
So there
It
we
was.
go.
So it was Dwight York. I mean, I want to check this.
What do you mean?
I'm not denying. I don't
Ben's the
remember.
man with the numbers, Jack.
What, Dwight York? He played
know.
for Manchester United.
Yeah, I know. I'm not denying that he's not playing.
Who's from Trinidad and Tobago?
Now, really?
Why? Well, I could give you some more. He's 44. Currently works for Sky Sports News and does other things.
A dreadful pundit.
Yeah, not a good
He
pundit.
started off his youth career at Signal Hill Comprehensive School. There you
Brilliant.
go.
So let's crack on with this week's show. And it was the ForTheFans derby. We weren't going to start with it, but we may as well, just so we can get it out of the way.
Would you like to read the actual name of the game in chat, Ben?
Oh yeah, Kino writes the running order every week and has written Laughingstock 0, Liverpool 6, and it was Liverpool 6, and it was nice to see Daniel Sturridge start a game, Jack. And I'm aware you've not seen too much of the match, but you must have seen the goal scorers.
I saw the first 20 minutes, and I
you
left
saw the
thinking
Sturridge goal
6-0.
then. You saw the Sturridge goal.
I did. I loved it. It was just like, welcome back, Danny. Welcome back.
Yeah, he did his little dance.
There's the part in the film where like it prematurely fades to black, and like it ends on a happy note.
Now, Callum, you're a season ticket at St Andrews, so you
Andrews.
but you
Yeah,
chose but you chose that. We're calling it St Andrews because Kino described Lincoln City's ground as Jack.
It's
help me.
hardly the
Blundell
same
Park.
level, is it, really?
Yeah.
I mean,
St
I don't know.
Andrews.
You're both probably going to be playing non-league football in 10 years. So.
Oh dearie me.
Sorry, Lincoln
Now, Callum,
fans.
you chose not to go to the game at the weekend.
No, I was out for Valentine's lunch with my
Oh
lovely
dearie me!
girlfriend.
I didn't know that. That makes it worse.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good. As someone that saw the game, I mean, we'll touch on it briefly. After 2-0, Villa looked like they just weren't bothered. Mark Bunn put in an excellent performance, conceding 6, making 2 or 3 saves. It was nice that Liverpool got 6 different goal scorers. James Milner scored a free kick, which was just a cross. So that's always nice. Origi scored a shot which was straight at Mark Bunn, and he parried into the back of the net. Kolo Toure accidentally headed the ball into the back of the net. It was it was good. Emre Can looked good as well. It was
Only the
first
Villa
time-
could let a person accidentally score against them.
Can we discuss Kolo Toure scoring against you? Is that the greatest insult or the greatest honour? Or both?
Honour, definitely.
I think honour. I think if we're going to take anything out of that game,
He's
I
one
mean,
of two.
maybe if he'd scored first, the 6-0 would have been excusable because the players would have been in awe.
He's one of 2 Ivorians to have won the Premier League.
Yaya Toure.
yeah.
You don't get a point, but congratulations.
I win the. I'm coming back. Right.
Hold on.
what?
That's not correct.
Wilfred Boney won it too last. No.
And Didier Drogba's won it as well. And
Right.
probably Solomon Kalou.
So basically, what we're discussing here and realising here is the entire feature was a fix this week.
No, that was off the cuff. Sorry.
I meant about that.
Ben
meant
wouldn't
he-
have won the feature.
No, sorry. I think what I went to say was that he's one of 2 Toures to have won the Premier League, which is true. That is a fact. So you can check that one against the record books. But no, Liverpool looked very good. It was the first time they've been able to play Shan, Henderson, Milner, Firmino, Coutinho, and Sturridge as like a front
I never
6.
thought I'd see the day.
Well, no, neither did I. But it looked good. It looked fluid, and we haven't looked fluid all season.
If only I
Tell you
mean,
we play Villa every
it'll
week.
never happen. But Sturridge is the perfect striker for Jurgen Klopp. He is. If you're trying to come up with a player who could replicate the sort of Lewandowski style at Borussia Dortmund, you'd pick Daniel Sturridge out of the.
I'm not sure they're identical players, but I know I kind of understand what you're saying there.
Well,
you can lead the line very well.
I think they offer the same combination of mobility, sort of conventional striking sort of ability.
Yeah, they give you a point to work around, and I think that's what Liverpool have lacked this year. And Benteke's not offered that, so having Sturridge back to do that job was pivotal, really. I think Klopp came to manage those 6 players who played. Actually, I think when Klopp looked at the Liverpool job, there were certain aspects of it which I'm sure he thought, I don't really fancy that, and there were certain aspects where he thought, do you know what, this could be quite good. And the front 6 that we put out at the weekend, I thought was one of the reasons he joined. I don't think sort of Lallana, Benteke as a front 3 was what he'd hoped for.
No.
When he first took the job, and I think it was refreshing for Klopp to not only see arguably our 6 best players in those positions playing the way they did, and it dispels the theory that Liverpool need wingers, and a theory that I kind of talk about a lot. When you have Sturridge, you don't need wingers because Sturridge makes that run in behind defenders. He makes defenders think more, which was nice to see. In terms of Villa, Keno, I mean, Remy Gard looked broken, like actually broken, like he wanted to leave.
The thing that is most worrying about this result is that we'd actually had, if you compared the form tables, we'd had better form than Liverpool coming into this game. We'd picked up 2 wins in our last 4. And we'd started to pick up points, and this result has just set us totally back. If we'd have got a point, or if we'd have won, I know it sounds silly, but we would have been 5 points from safety. But it's just set us right back to square one. And I worry, I think the most important decision in probably Aston Villa's recent history is coming up in the next 6 months, and that's Remy Gard's as to whether he'll stay as manager.
Do you think it's a club decision, or do you reckon it's going to be his decision?
I think it'll be totally down to him, and I worry, and I don't think any Villa fan would begrudge him walking away right now because he has not been backed by the powers that be at the club at all. But I worry that he will sort of think that same thing and just think, why should I continue with this? And yeah, it's bad times.
I do wonder at this point now, like, is it worth just, I don't want to say getting rid of him, but like if you could mutually agree for him to walk away and getting like your manager for next year now.
No, I think that'd be really stupid.
I think that would be suicidal.
Because there's lots of teams who would sack their manager in Villa's position now, even if he's just come in.
But you bring that air of negativity to the guy who's coming in. You want a fresh start next year, whatever happens.
The thing is, Gard has improved the side. Because what sent us down was not all of the matches under Remy Gard. It was the first 9 games that we lost consecutively under Tim Sherwood. That first half of the season is ultimately what has been our death knell. And if I think if Gard had been there from the start of the season to work with the players that we signed, predominantly French players, I don't think we'd be in this position, or I at least don't think we would be in such a desperate position as we are right now. It's another case, and this is unfortunately a pattern that has just been prevalent at the Villa for the last 5 years, of the right, a good decision at totally the wrong time to make it. Gard would have been a fantastic manager for us maybe a year ago, or even, like I say, at the beginning of the season. But to bring him in midway through the year in a league that he doesn't know, with players he doesn't know, who are rock bottom in terms of confidence, I actually think he's done pretty well to get us the few wins that we've had in the last couple of weeks, actually.
Do you think Sherwood would have got you those wins, though?
Absolutely not.
I can't help but think he would have done, though. Because it's the sort of situation where eventually you are going to win some games. Yeah,
but there's been slight changes up until this game, obviously, in the performance of the players that have been sort of clues as to the fact that he's rallied them a little bit. And we've looked more organised. We've worked a lot harder than we did in the first 5 games or so of his tenure, and obviously the whole of Sherwood. So I think there are signs that he was actually making a bit of a difference. This result has just totally sent us back to square one, though.
Do you think Sherwood would have been given money in January had he stayed?
It's difficult to say because there's been changes at the top since Sherwood left. Obviously, we have a new chairman, Steve Hollis, who is a local businessman. He's not a football guy. He's purely known for his business prowess, and he's come in as handling the day-to-day runnings of the club. So whether or not he would have given money to Sherwood in the transfer window remains to be seen. He obviously didn't back Remy Gard.
Is that because he thinks you're down? Essentially, we've got to assume that, right?
When he came in, he said some worrying things about the sort of customer thing. He mentioned customer in the press release when he joined.
That's not a word you want to hear,
and that is not a word that you want to hear. And obviously, we've had since the beginning of the year, sort of July last year, a director of football. Fat lot of good he's done, and we've had Tom Fox, the relatively new CEO. And I'm sort of tempted to say that while Randy Lerner's still in position, I don't think these three relatively new employees can do their job, because there's so much of a question mark over whether Lerner will continue, because as soon as a buyer comes in, he'll sell up, presumably, when they bring the right price. So these guys can't do their job right in the full sort of confidence that they should have. And so that is feeding down then from that point down into the sort of the staff of the club, and then by extension the playing staff, and it's just been a totally unstable club for the last 2 years.
Do we think that arguably the best time to buy Aston Villa will be the year they go down to the Championship? They'll be at their cheapest price, and logically speaking, Villa won't be in the Championship that long. It might take an extra year, but you'd think with what they've got there, with the foundations they've got there, there's more than enough to get them out of the Championship. We say the Championship's a difficult division to get out of. Not every fan base has got 40,000 people stuck in it every week.
Well, exactly.
And a Villa in form would get that. A Villa playing well.
There's clubs who have been in that kind of similar situation and then have dropped down and haven't come back, and the fans
who are you talking about? Not of our size.
Look at Newcastle. He's talking about Leeds. Leeds is a great example.
Leeds.
Okay, I'll give you the two. They're two different situations, because we are not, although obviously we've been awfully run for the last 5 years in terms of decision making, we are not in the financial situation that Leeds were in when they went down. We haven't overspent madly. We've spent the money that we got from Benteke and Delph, and I guess we could sort of just turn this into a sort of Aston Villa post-mortem chat for a little bit, because I know we've been sort of rumbling on for the whole year, but I think that 6-0 has basically signed, sealed and delivered our relegation. So in terms of kind of my thoughts on it, I don't think we're in the same position as like you say, Leeds and Wednesday. I think it's more similar to a Newcastle, because I think we still have the fan base. We've been going 35,000 plus every week, so that the attendance is not that low, and we have enough revenue, and we're run stably enough. Obviously Lerner's been frugal, but we've run stably enough to be able to sort of take that hit for at least 2 years. I think the problem, like you say, comes after a couple of years if we don't get back.
I guess my bigger worry here is for Villa is that you look at that Newcastle side, they were able to hold on to a lot of their players when they went down.
Yeah.
I look at the Villa side, there's a lot of players there who I just don't see sticking around.
This is why I say...
Sorry, I'm jumping in, because I think that's a ridiculous thing to say. Because who's going to want any of them? Which player in that team? Well, tell me who you mean then. Who
someone like Yoris Akore.
Why?
Richards is the kind of player who could go to a lower Premier League side.
Yeah, but he's been crap for a year and a half. Akore's done nothing. Akore talks about a move, right? On what basis should he get a move?
There's lots of players in this situation who get moves, who get relegated, then immediately jump ship and get a low-end Premier League club who come in at a minimal cut fee price.
I think if I was looking at the squad and thinking who might get those kinds of moves, I know the thing that you're talking about, Jack, and I would say probably Richards, because some team a la sort of Crystal Palace, your Norwiches of this world, maybe Norwich will come down.
You'd be right to get rid of him because of his wage, but he's certainly not proven that he wants to play in the Premier League.
No, but I think some managers and some sort of owners are sort of stupid enough to just think, Premier League quality, and this is the sort of misnomer about the experience factor. If we take, I think, why I mentioned that the most important decision is whether Gard stays or leaves, I think he can convince some of these players to stay, particularly the French ones like Ayew, Amavi and Vertu, who have probably been the three best players of the signings. Obviously Amavi, and we talk about the luck that we've had this year, or lack of, he was ruled out for the season in October. Now, if he can keep those players for a year, I'm happy to say they're fine if they want to leave, but if they can give us a year where we're still paying their full wages with the parachute payment, I think we can come straight back up. But it all hinges on whether Gard decides to leave or stay. That is the crucial decision, because people say that you need a Nigel Pearson type manager to get promoted again, and that the logical decision would be to get rid of Gard, to bring in someone like Pearson, and to sort of kind of beat our way back into the Premier League. I disagree, because if you look at the teams that have been promoted, obviously Clement's left Derby now, but if you look at Karanka at Middlesbrough, and many of the teams that have been promoted from the Championship in the last few years, they don't play sort of old school football. They play good football, and we have the players to do that, and we have the quality to do that in the Championship. Now, whether we are allowed to do that, like I say, all depends on whether Gard stays. It's not a very nice time to be a Villa fan, because there's so much uncertainty.
The reason I don't think any of these players will leave is because if any of them are to leave, you're going to make a loss on them.
Yeah.
And one thing Villa don't want to do is make a loss. I'm looking through the transfers that you made in the summer, right? The sort of the rumoured fees, because we live in a world where everything's undisclosed. Guay was 9 million, Amavi was 9 million, AU was 9 million, Vertout was 7 million, Gested was 6 million, Toure was 7 million. On what player there are you making any money? And it's not that they're bad players, it's just that with the season they've had, no way are Villa going to go on there 3 million, you're back to France.
And I think
it's just not happening.
I think that'll work in our advantage. I think that will work in our advantage in a sort of perverse way, because it's been so widely documented how bad we've been this year. Like you say, I don't think some of those players are technically bad players. I think given time, a pre-season, and a manager that gets them, they could be fine. However, like you say, in the current situation,
I think there's just a few young players there who need to be playing Premier League football for the sakes of their career.
But they've got to prove they're capable. I still don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, of course, but then you look at players like Grealish, who's 20 years old. Like, he is not going to want to play in the Championship. Like, for example,
he's done nothing. So he has to play in the Championship for a year, because he's done
I think a team will take a punt on him if Villa go down. He's the kind of player. I think someone like Adama Traore, like he's gone to Villa not to play Championship football from Barcelona. He's gone there to play regular football in the Premier League and potentially try, and if he can, force his way in.
Deulofeu, Everton, for instance.
Well, all these players at Villa have got to prove their credibility back, because they've lost it this season.
I agree with you on that.
There's enough quality in that Villa team. We were talking pre-season, Kino, that this team shouldn't be anywhere near the relegation zone. They should be around 14th, 13th if things had planned out how they should have done.
That's what I said to you. Set that kind of position.
But if he spends nearly 50 million, and it's not too far away from 50 million, on sort of 7 or 8 players that cost 9 to 6 million each, you are crazy to think you'll make any money off those going down. So Villa have to go down with these players, and those players have got to look at themselves and go, we've got to come back up again. To make
money off these players, like you look at the way they've handled their transfer business in January and stuff.
Randy Lerner is not the man who's trying to make a loss on anything. Never mind, he's going to make it on the football club.
I just think they're going to look to recoup some money. I worry for Villa, because I think
that'd be crazy.
I think they've got 2 fundamental problems. I think the first problem they've got is that some of their better players could probably find moves. Players like Vertout, is that how you say his name? The French guy, 22 years old. He's looked okay. I think Guillet, He's looked okay as well.
Yeah.
Amavi looked very good when he was fit. Those are the players who came in this year for their fairly hefty fees. Villa aren't gonna. I think Villa would be happy to sell them at a few £1 million loss, if I'm honest.
I agree with that, and that's why I think it's important that Gard stays, because I believe that he can convince them to stay for a year at least. Give us a season.
They should want to stay. As footballers, they should want to stay.
Well, you'd hope that, but unfortunately,
as kind of players in their young 20s, though.
I think Remy Gard can convince, particularly those young French players. I reckon he can convince them to stay for a year and to try and bring us back in, because there has been signs of life. I know it sounds silly after we've just lost 6-0, but there has been a slight, ever so slight upturn in the way that some of those players were playing, particularly Vertout. Actually, Gard was a central midfielder, and he sort of looked to have got him playing a little bit more lively than he had been. So it all hinges on that. I mean, that's all there is to say.
Let's move on, because we've spent quite a long time there on Villa, but I do think this was the game on the weekend where it looks...
If we were going to talk about the Villa and their prospects of the future any weekend, I think this was the one, because it was
This might be the last time we talk about
If they stay up now, then it's really awkward.
We'll see, won't we?
I'd love to be proved wrong.
Let's go to... There was 2 huge games, and we're nearly half an hour in, we've not mentioned either of them. Let's go to Arsenal-Leicester, and a red card has essentially sealed that deal. Leicester, I thought Leicester slightly edged the first half. Have you both seen the penalty decision? Controversial penalty decision?
I thought what was most impressive was obviously that decision over Danny Simpson could be one of the most important decisions of the season. because it's narrowed the gap to 2 points. I thought in terms of the actual match, Leicester were very impressive for obviously the 60 minutes until he walked.
Well, no, I mean the penalty though. When Vardy won the penalty, that's what I'm kind of focused on.
The penalty itself.
I think
Arsenal fans aren't happy, but I think it's a pen.
I think it's a penalty. I feel like I can understand why Arsenal fans feel like Vardy's run into who was it at left back?
Monreal.
It was
I can understand
Monreal.
why they feel like it's agreed. The bottom line is Monreal has put his foot across the ball. The ball's gone past him, and then he's left his foot out.
It's a funny one because it comes back down to, there's obviously contact there, but then it comes down to the intentions of the attacking player. I think Vardy altered the direction of which he was travelling to draw that foul in a way that you don't often see. Like, obviously players look for fouls and go down under contact, but Vardy played the ball to his right and then continued moving left. He wasn't going to like go round Monreal and come back the other side. He knew that by running into Monreal he'd draw a penalty. It was a little bit more deliberate than you usually see, which is why I guess it's been so contentious.
I feel like
I think
for me,
it slowed down a little like that though. I
feel like for me, like, it's a foul if he doesn't make contact with Vardy because he's like impaired and going for the ball, and actually Vardy running into him just gives the ref the decision to make.
I should clarify. I do think it's a penalty, but I think that nature of sort of the attacking intent is what has made it so contentious.
Yeah. It looks like essentially it looks like he's playing for it, which he is, but on the other side, you think, well, if Monreal's going to defend so badly and so statically, you're kind of asking for that, mate. That's like the way you've set yourself there.
Yeah.
Jamie Vardy's a clever enough striker, savvy enough striker, as he's proved all season, that he's going to make contact with you and he's going to win his side a penalty because they want the title. I think it's becoming that situation, isn't it? That you'll do that because there's a lot at stake and you're willing to. Like, Vardy would happily pick up a yellow there if the ref deemed it to be a dive, which I don't think anyone said it was a dive, but yeah.
No.
Jack?
Oh,
do you want to add? Sorry, I wondered if you wanted to add.
Kind of just said my piece.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to the red card then, because at 1-0, Leicester to me at least, Leicester looked in control. It was a game that Arsenal were not enjoying being a part of at all.
Absolutely not. There was a period sort of from about half an hour onwards where Leicester just started to go through the gears. It was incredibly impressive because Arsenal had a lot of possession for the first 20, and then like you say, Leicester took control up until
he was particularly excellent, I thought.
He was everywhere up until obviously the red card, which
it's 2 quick yellows. I'm inclined to say they're both yellows. I know a lot of people are saying it was a bit harsh. I think as isolated incidents, it's unfortunate that he's made 2 fouls and both have resulted in a booking. I think I'd kind of prefer to see sort of a middle foul of. Actually, do you know what I think what Danny Simpson's problem is? The first one's definitely a yellow because of the way he sort of brings him down a little bit, and the second one is too much of a yellow not to give it. Do you know what I mean by that? It's not enough of an innocuous challenge. It's like he's intentionally pulling back Giroud.
I agree.
Because he's pulling him back, it's just a bit like, well, you can't be doing that.
I don't get the people blaming the ref. Really don't get that.
I think it's 2 yellows. I think it's harsh, but I think again it's the second yellow isn't lenient enough to be like just sort of forgotten about. Do you know what I mean by that? Like, the Arsenal players and fans would be like, well, hang on a minute, he's literally obstructed him there, he's pulling him back. How is that not a yellow card?
I also think it's one of those decisions that are changed by sort of the context, because I think if that happens in the West Brom Everton game, it's a clear sending off. I think it was 2 yellow cards. They were slightly soft, but you see yellow cards given for that all the time. I think really Simpson's to blame, because in a game of that magnitude, you shouldn't be even leaving it to chance in those decisions. I think
it wasn't like Giroud was in on goal or anything. It was
exactly.
like it was a really silly area. Yeah. And from that, Walcott gets his goal. Great play by Giroud to knock it down to him. Walcott with a good finish. And Leicester didn't look completely out of it, but that last 20 minutes, I think there was a 15-minute period where the game was still pretty even. Walcott scores, and then from that point on, it kind of seemed inevitable. And then during injury time, it was a bit like, well, actually, no, there isn't going to be. This is going to finish 1-1, and that's probably a fair result. And then the Leicester defender, whose name has absolutely escaped me now, it's quite a long name.
Vasilevsky.
Yeah, gives away the most. Yeah, that's right. Gives away the most.
Who came on?
Gives away the most ridiculous foul. Comes on 58 for Mahrez in sort of a reaction to the red card, and 94 minutes on the clock, and he just piles into someone.
He's just panicked, hasn't he?
Well, he has panicked because he's thinking, if we get this ball away, that's probably the game won. when in fact he's missed the ball completely, taken the man, and from the resulting free kick, it was quite nice to see Welbeck score. It's been a little while since he's done anything, so it was nice to see him come back and get on the score sheet and Arsenal win the game.
He's been very unlucky with injuries. It was quite good to see him score again.
And I think he gives Arsenal a different dynamic. I guess that's something we might touch on another week when he starts a game. So where do we think that leaves the league table now then? Obviously we'll go on to Tottenham City in a moment, but in terms of Leicester, do you think this would be the start of their mini collapse, and do you think Arsenal are completely back in the race? Because that wasn't the case 2 weeks ago.
I feel like Leicester are very fortunate with the games they've got coming up, because if they were going off this game, into the City game, off this kind of defeat, I think it weighs on them a lot more heavily. You look at their actual fixtures, they've got Norwich, West Brom, Watford, Newcastle. Watford probably the pick of the bunch is the hardest there.
They get a week off as well because there's the FA Cup, don't they?
But if you wanted a set of games to bounce back kind of into, I think those are the ones there. I feel like for Leicester, it obviously it's a big dent, but you don't really go to Arsenal expecting to come away with too much. Perhaps the nature of it, the way the late goals come in, it could plague them a bit. I do feel like I don't want to say it felt like Arsenal were going to win this game, but of course Arsenal beat them fairly convincingly in kind of the reverse tie earlier on in the year. So I feel like Arsenal are kind of not the kryptonite of Leicester, but they've already shown they could kind of outplay Leicester. So for Leicester, it's not like it's come as necessarily a massive shock.
No.
The thing for Leicester, you hear this a lot from professional players, that after a defeat they just want to get back into it. And while it's all well and good, Leicester having 2 weeks off, Ranieri said, look, go away for a week, come back. We essentially he's done the Gerrard, we go again. But coming back against Norwich, ridiculous favourites for that game going in. Norwich not in good form, not playing well. But the pressure will be on Leicester that they lose this game. Everyone will be looking at them. Everyone will be saying, look, this is a must-win game. If they lose, they're off the top, you would assume. Because Arsenal and Spurs can both go above them if they win.
Yeah.
It's a high-pressure game for Leicester, and that's not really been talked about. It's Leicester have got this easy run coming up. 2 weeks to dwell on what happened at Arsenal.
It
could play the mental game of the Premier League is fascinating at this time.
I agree with you. I think it's arguably a higher pressure game than any of these last three quote-unquote big games that they've just played against Liverpool, Arsenal and City, because they are, like you say, they are red hot favourites and they're expected to win. But it won't be an easy game against Norwich because they are fighting for their lives. So while it's a game, obviously you'd expect Leicester to take on paper, it will be a lot more difficult than it suggests. And obviously they're coming off the back of that win and the holiday. I think it will be a really, really, really interesting game. In terms of their title credentials, I think there's been a few tests for them so far. I know everyone keeps talking about when the next sort of test for Leicester is going to come. Obviously, this run of games was important, and they've taken 6 points from 9, so you could say they've passed that. But to kind of, and this is what most teams struggle with at this period, to sort of close off the title against these teams that they should win against. This is the big test, and it only gets harder from here. And while I really do hope it happens from a neutral point of view, I worry that they might struggle in games like this.
Yeah.
We talk about kind of Leicester and how they're going to bounce back. I think it's worth noting like Arsenal's upcoming games. They've got Hull in the FA Cup, Barcelona at home in the Champions League, followed up by United away, Swansea at home, and then Spurs away. For them, this was an imperative win. It prevents Leicester pulling, 8 points clear at the top?
Yeah.
But I still think there's, as good as this win is, there's bigger tests coming up for them, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think we spoke about it last week. Arsenal's run is particularly difficult from now until until April.
And it's important to note it's also potentially a lot longer. They've got more games to play than Leicester. Leicester have markedly fewer games than anyone else in their position.
Leicester's next 3 home fixtures, I think, are Norwich, Newcastle, and not necessarily in that order, and someone else. I
hope they're playing someone else at home at some point.
It's playing West Brom. So they played Norwich at home, West Brom at home, Watford away, which is tricky, and then Newcastle at home. And that'll bring us to the sort of middle of March, and it'll be interesting to see where Leicester are there. And I'm going to ask you both, actually. We'll start with Leicester. Where do you think they'll finish, Kino, at this point in the season?
I think, as he's proven so far, it's all psychological with Leicester as to whether they win it or not.
Callum, I want a number.
I think if Ranieri continues managing the players in the way he has, I think they'll win it. I think they can go and do it.
Jack?
I want to say they're going to win it. I want to say it's going to be a fairy tale, but I think Spurs win the league. I think Leicester, they've got United, Everton, and then Chelsea. The last 3 games of the year, Chelsea away and United away. Though, like, I honestly feel like they have to be 5 points clear at that kind of third to last game to be like in with a chance. I think Tottenham, they've had this team. I know we'll come on to Tottenham shortly.
Give me a number.
Second.
Okay,
it's difficult to say because both of these teams and obviously I said that I kind of tipped Spurs for the title around sort of Christmas time. It's difficult to say because neither of these teams have ever been in this position before, and neither have the managers. Obviously, Ranieri's finished second a few times, but he's never closed out a league, and that's a famous statistic of his.
I'll finish it off by saying I think Leicester will come third. I think third.
Really?
I think they'll just gel into the mix of Tottenham, Arsenal, City, and I don't know where those 3 will finish now. I think we'll know. I know this is an obvious thing to say, but I think we'll know more in the next couple of weeks with what happens in those sort of big games. Arsenal have got some big games coming up. Leicester have got some relatively easy games, and I think at that point we'll know more.
I think that Norwich game is pivotal. It can go either way.
Obviously we'll know more. But if Leicester obviously lose that and Arsenal and Tottenham both win, Leicester immediately go to third, and once again they're not necessarily favourites for the title, and I think that'll be interesting. And we still can't rule out City. They're 6 points behind with 12 to go. Like there's plenty of time left for them to come back into this.
Yeah.
Speaking of City and Tottenham, obviously. A massive game, as big a game as the Arsenal Leicester game. Tottenham went away to Manchester City and beat them 2-1, and it was a convincing win. I thought. I know the penalty was a little bit dubious, but I thought Tottenham looked like the better team.
I was surprised, and I kind of thought City might have taken some lessons from Leicester, but they were very. I've seen the game in full. I watched it back today. They were very happy to let Tottenham have the ball kind of around the back, and I don't know if this is the big issue I have with City, but when they don't have possession, they don't work super hard to get it back. And I don't know if that's partially down to the fact, Aguero is not the kind of striker who can hunt the ball around on his own for an entire game. But Spurs have such talented players, and the further back you go, the better their players look on the ground. Like Alderweireld is a very, very good player with the ball at his feet. And I kind of feel like if you let Spurs play football away from home, as they showed here, like they will play football. And I think the Eriksen goal was a really nice goal that kind of epitomised that. Spurs play nice football, and kind of City let them play that.
Well, it's funny, Tottenham had more possession in the game. City had far more chances. Tottenham had 6 shots in the game, 3 on target. City had 19 shots, but only 4 on target. Quite a few more corners. But yeah, as I say, Tottenham had more possession. So that kind of goes with what you're saying, that when City didn't have the ball, Tottenham were quite happy to keep it and keep it relatively well. The penalty decision that was given to Tottenham, the Sterling handball. I'm assuming you've both seen it, yeah?
It's one of those. There was a similar one given earlier in the year, wasn't there? And
I think it's incredibly harsh.
Oh yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
I know Sterling has to jump there. I don't like people say I don't think it's hit his arm. I don't think the ball goes where it goes if it doesn't hit his arm.
Yeah.
Let's say it hits his ribs. I mean, unless his ribs are sticking out and creating some sort of overhanging chasm, I don't think the ball can literally go where it's gone. I think it's a very harsh decision, and I think that Tottenham. It's funny because it's a harsh decision, and if it doesn't happen, it might end 1-1. But Tottenham deserve to win, despite however harsh it was. Tottenham to me seemed like they seemed the more confident team going into the game. City always looked quite panicked. I don't know if you agree with that, Jack.
City looked nervous. I thought they almost looked like they were feeling the pressure of the game, even when they got that goal back.
Yeah, well, Iheanacho came on and scored a good goal.
The man.
Yeah, and at that point you think, oh, actually, you know what? I think City at that point actually looked like they might go on to win. And then you mentioned the goal that Eriksen scored, and it kind of put it to bed. I do you know what? I liked Kane's penalty. I don't know about you two, but to go down the middle.
It wasn't quite Messi-esque, was it?
No, we can't. Well, I think we should touch on that later on, actually. But I like penalty takers that go down the middle because I think it's the smartest place to put it. If you angle up to put it in a corner and just pop it down the middle, keepers don't dare stay there. It seems like the most obvious place to put it. I don't know. I'd love to see a keeper when they just stand up, just not move, and say, "Well, I've guessed. I've just got it wrong."
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you're sort of you're bluffing the keeper. You're daring him to not move. And it's quite a sort of reverse psychology.
You'd think actually you'd see keepers stand more. Do you not think? I don't know. You think about how many penalties you see put down the middle.
Well, there was one. I think it was in the FA Cup. It could have been the Liverpool game actually, where the keeper.
Did Mignolet save it? It wasn't hit hard enough.
I can't remember, but it was a situation exactly like you say, where the penalty was sort of half down the middle, half not, and it wasn't a good pen. He obviously tried to angle it either side, and if the keeper had stayed put and then reached for it, because it was within reach, if the keeper had stayed still, it would have been fine. You're right. I don't know why that doesn't happen more, but it was a great pen from Kane.
Keepers don't want to be seen to do nothing, it seems, so they just take the guess.
Exactly.
It's strange, isn't it? So I asked you about Leicester and Arsenal. I'm going to ask you equally about City and Tottenham. I feel like that game was strangely a little bit more clear-cut, despite the fact Tottenham won it, compared to the Arsenal-Leicester game. It was all a little bit more clear-cut. Where do we think... Do you both think Tottenham have got a legitimate chance of actually winning the league?
I think I said they'd win the league in the first recording of this year.
You're not trying to claim my Spurs love, Jack. I'm sorry.
No, I claimed it, and then you all laughed at me because I said Arsenal would finish fifth.
Listen to him.
That's not happening.
Yeah,
but,
I said Spurs would win the league, and I do think Spurs are a team who they've had all these pieces, and you kind of looked at their team this year, and you thought that's a team that if they have the right manager can win the league, or at least I thought that.
I think that's mad.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I don't think the squad depth is anywhere near enough to consider Tottenham title contenders. I just think they're playing extraordinarily well.
Do you not think when you look at players like Lamela, Ericsson...
to win the league? I thought City, United, Chelsea and Arsenal had better chances this season than Spurs.
I just don't think they were completely out of it, I guess. I feel like Spurs for a while have been a sleeper team. And they've had players like Lamela who haven't really hit the ground running in the Premier League, and they needed the right manager to come out there and kind of play a system that...
Yeah, but it's hard to predict that... It's hard to predict that Lamela's just going to have a great season.
Oh no, but what I'm saying is I feel like he's proven in the past that he can be the kind of player who can help a team do very, very well in his domestic division. He did that when he was in Serie A. And I think the players like Son being added, I think you look at their defence of Vertonghen and Alderweireld, but debatably one of the best defensive partnerships in the league. And to be honest, there aren't that many centre-back partnerships this year.
It's like the reverse Liverpool season. They're so solid at the back, it gives them foundation to attack. Whereas Liverpool was so good going forward, they didn't really have to worry about defending. And it's a similar... Do you know what I mean? It's a similar kind of air of this could happen because there's so much positivity around that team right now.
And I think Lloris in goal as well. I do think... I would go as far to say you look at Spurs' players, they have some players who could win a league for you.
I think it will. If you're asking for numbers, I don't think City will win it, because I think, as they've shown in the Leicester game and the Spurs game, while they probably have the attacking talent, they're just too fragile. And I don't want to sound like I'm sort of repeating the pundit line, but it's true that without company, they are leaderless. And
they had him this weekend.
Yeah, he came back.
He played this weekend.
Oh God, can you edit that out?
No, that's staying in. Still conceded two.
Can you edit that out?
What was the penalty? Can you edit that out? Interesting that Tottenham, Arsenal and City all have Europe and Leicester don't. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays into the final. Because the thing is, if you get momentum within Europe, say Arsenal beat Barcelona, admittedly, they'll play 2 games against Barcelona, which might impact their fitness, but that's one hell of a boost to your mental state. And that's something we don't really touch upon enough, I don't think, in this country, arguably, the mental state of how football affects players and how different situations can influence wins and losses.
Well, Leicester this season has been almost, to me, an entirely mental thing, because they obviously are not... I mean, it wouldn't be insulting to say that they're not of the level of some of the bigger teams in terms of talent, but they have been able to churn out the results.
I just think it'd be incredible that this time next season, when Villa have escaped relegation and Remy Gard indeed takes Villa to a title challenge, it'll be... History will repeat itself.
In the Championship.
In the Championship.
No, they're going to lose the playoff final. I've already got the tickets.
If that happens and you don't now win, that's going to be awful. Because the smugness factor from Jack will be unbearable.
I'll be very happy. I mean, I won't be happy. I do feel bad.
I feel like you will be quite happy. Let's go to Sunderland 2, Manchester United 1. We're going to focus briefly on a couple more games. I think we'll talk about this one. Everton I want to touch on very briefly, and Chelsea. Sunderland 2, Manchester United 1. Van Gaal. Is it Mourinho's time, Jack?
Yeah. I want to say yes, but then I don't think Mourinho's the right guy for the job.
All right, well, let's focus on the game a little bit more. Early doors, Sunderland score. For the rest of the game, United are in relative control. It's a little bit too open for their liking, certainly for Van Gaal's liking. And then David De Gea, who was great again in this game, I must say. I thought he played really well. It kind of hits his arse, essentially. He's back in his arse and goes in.
I mean, I think Depay's done a shite job on the line. He's a £30 million footballer and he can't kick the ball off his line with his left foot. Instead, he gets like a really half-assed contact that hits De Gea in the back and goes in.
Do we think that the thing is with De Gea? Do we think he's giving Manchester United this season as a you can have this year and then I'm going to be leaving? Or do we think De Gea's actually committed to the project of Manchester United? I can't see, like, even if Mourinho comes in, right, I can't see David De Gea staying at Manchester United much longer.
How long's left on his contract? Because I think actually it'll come down to that monetary decision. Because I feel like if United were going to say to him, look, stay one more year and we win the league, he probably goes with it. But I feel like if he's got 2 years left on his contract, you have to sell him this summer.
Okay, I'll ask you the question. Do you think Sunderland will stay up, Jack?
Yes, I've said that for a while.
Okay.
I think they've got goals, and they've shown that again here.
Kino, what about you? Sunderland United?
Sunderland United. Oh, are we predicting?
Oh, yeah, where do you think they'll finish? Sorry, I made it very awkward. Where do you think they'll finish?
Relegation.
Oh, Jack doesn't think they will.
I think they've got enough goals in them.
Relegation.
Who do you think's joining you then out of the candidates?
Norwich and Sunderland, straight up. I think Newcastle, despite their loss, which we'll get onto in a bit, I think they're still they'll have enough to escape. And Bournemouth are pulling away, so it's different to the past years. Say last season there's quite a large amount of teams that you could pick from, whereas there's quite a small select group here at the bottom this time. Yeah,
I'd agree with that. Should we move on to Newcastle then? They scored. But it didn't mean that much. Chelsea, I think Chelsea fans were partly delighted, and a lot of Chelsea fans that I saw were a little bit livid that we're in February and they've finally put in a performance they've kind of been expecting all season. I don't know, Jack?
I think William's been the shining light of their team for the last few weeks, certainly. I think Hiddink, been a revelation. He actually looks like the player season.
He was still
he was good under Mourinho.
He was putting in performances under Mourinho as well.
I feel like it's hard to judge just how well he was performing in that side, just because of how bad everyone else was around him. Right, I can't work out if he was actually putting in performances or if he was just not the worst.
It is a good point, actually.
Because he did get like 4 free kick goals or something, or it was certainly a few free kick goals, which like they inflate the stats. But I put him in my fantasy football team this week. I went, today's the week, and 16 points. Loving it.
Well done. I had a poor fantasy week, actually.
I had an extremely poor fantasy week.
Oh, did you? Oh, good. That's helpful.
4 points below the average, in fact.
Do you know? I'm just gonna bring it up. 28 points. Holy mother, that's not good at all.
Oh, well, I got 37. So
Houlihan come off the bench just saved me. 8 points for Wesley. Oh, dearie me, lucky boy.
I got 57.
I got a -3 for Danny Simpson, who also came off my bench.
It's not great, is it?
No. Still top out of Oslo though. So
I'm ahead of Kino. That's all that matters.
Wow, you're getting there. Okay, so Chelsea, I feel like there's so much we can say about Chelsea and Newcastle, but we'll save it for another week when they do something a little bit more exciting. I know 5-1's pretty good, but there's not much to analyse really. Newcastle were bad, Chelsea were good.
Chelsea on the longest unbeaten streak in the Premier League at the moment, 10 games, which
Hiddink
should be commended.
The Tinker Man Hiddink.
See, I made a joke about Chelsea being like winning a relegation battle, and then someone pointed out they were only 2 points behind Liverpool.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it?
Well, Liverpool won, so we're fine.
Can we? Did either of you see the stats for the Everton West Brom game?
I did 36 shots.
Keen, have you seen this?
Yes, I have.
It was 1-0 West Brom. It was 24% possession for West Brom. 5 shots, 1 on target. They win 1-0. Everton 33 shots, 76% possession. Only 6 shots on target of 33, which is ridiculous. 14 corners. Everton just can't. Everton are odd, aren't they? You'd think they'd win that game about 4-0.
It's a result only a Roberto Martinez team is capable of.
As a result, only Tony Pulis' teams are capable
Precisely.
of.
So when the two meet, this is the result. Yes, there's nothing to say about it. That's
funny. It's funny to look at.
That's how Martinez sounded in the post game as well. He was just like, I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Do you think anyone's to blame in that situation? Is it just one of those games that it didn't matter how many shots you have? West Brom were going to win it 1-0.
They hit the woodwork twice, didn't they? Like, I don't want to say you can say, oh, we got unlucky, because that annoys me when people use that as an excuse. This might be one of the few times where I go, actually, I'll let you have that as your excuse, because it is just... I feel like if you were to watch the game, West Brom had 10 players in their own penalty box the entire match.
Yeah, I saw it.
It was annoying to watch. But then it's a Pulis thing, isn't it? Pulis, you're not going to get sexy football. It's not going to be nice. You're not going to enjoy it. You're going to have a bad time. You're going to cry every game, but you're going to get 14th to 18th every year.
He just wants to play sexy, cooler football, to quote you two.
I mean, reference game on point.
Reference game.
Thank you, Richards. Or Thorins, whatever you prefer. I don't think there's any... Shall we go straight to listener questions, actually?
I feel like there's some good questions this week. We had a lot again.
Thank you for the other games that took place. It's nice that you're still playing, although, Palace Watford at this point... yeah. Norwich got a 2-2.
It was an important result for Watford because they were on a little kind of winless run of 5 games or something.
It's an important result for Watford, and it's also a continuation, really, of Norwich's poor form, because although they did pick up a point, it felt like a loss after the lead that they were in.
Good away wins for Stoke and Southampton as well. That'll keep them nice and safe. I say nice and safe. Actually, they're pushing. Southampton are now pushing United.
Well, it's so funny. Southampton, for maybe 2/3 of the season so far, have been sort of very underachieving, and only recently have they started to kick on, and then they've really taken advantage of the fact that there is sort of a bit of a malaise around those mid-table teams right now.
They've won 4 of their last 6. They got a draw against Arsenal, and they lost to... Oh, no, sorry. Southampton have won 5 of their last 6.
Southampton are in 6th. They've kind of ninjaed in there. They're only 1 point behind United.
Unbeaten in 6. Last lost to Norwich, unbelievably.
Of course, they've not.
2nd of January.
Up until this game, they'd... oh, hold on. Did they concede a goal?
Yeah,
I think
Southampton. Southampton haven't conceded in 6.
That's Fraser Forster.
And they're unbeaten in 6, won 5, and haven't conceded in 6. That is. Do you know what? If I were Man United, 5th. I mean, Southampton are coming for you. Better goal difference and a point behind. As things stand currently, you back Southampton. Charlie Austin could well be on the plane, Jack.
Mate, I mean, they've got Chelsea next game, then they've got Bournemouth.
Don't give him the ammo, Ben.
Easy.
Don't give him the ammunition.
Yeah, but
they're going to get top forward Charlie Austin firing in 10 more this year. Easy.
We're looking forward to it. We're definitely looking forward to it.
He's not actually started the last game.
Shane Long's too good, mate. That's the problem.
He missed a few sets.
Have you got viewer questions? Has anyone got them to hand?
I have them to hand.
I do, and the first one.
I was organised for once.
But I thought I'd just do.
No, you asked. No, you didn't even ask the question. Ben did it. Right.
I thought I'd do a topical one. I've got a topical.
Listeners,
one.
I do it every week. Feature questions. I'll let these two take over. It's outrageous.
Right. So, Joel Dunn Wilson asks. Do you think Joel Matip, obviously Liverpool's new signing today, confirmed for the end of the season, I don't know how much have you seen of him, do you think he will jump into the starting 11?
Yes.
And who do you think will join him at centre-back next season?
I mean, the thing for Liverpool is, this summer's going to be quite an interesting one, because I think there's a few fairly established Liverpool players who might get moved on. I think Skrtel might go, 31 now. Since that
that leads to the question:
goal-scoring season,
who do you think will partner Matip?
Sorry to be explicit, but I fucking hope Skrtel leaves.
Lovren, I don't think is good enough. I think it'll be a Sacco and Matip defensive duo, fairly young. I say young defenders, relatively kind of for defenders, below 25. That could be a partnership there. I think they're both fairly athletic players. I think Sacco's actually improved a lot when it comes to having the ball down at his feet, which is something.
He was never that bad. Stop this.
I think you're Sacco's biggest fan, Ben. I think you are.
I might be, but this idea that he's bad at passing because he does it in a weird way doesn't mean he's bad at passing.
You know why? It's because he's left-footed.
Honestly, no, he passes. He uses his whole body to pass the ball, which I admit is a strange style. But that doesn't mean it's inaccurate. He just uses his arms to do it.
I'll say he looks more confident on the ball now. There were certainly times where, whenever he got the ball, there were times he'd be like, "Ooh," is he going to sell the keeper short?
I feel like he's cut out of his game.
Look, I will do anything to get Martin Skrtel out of that Liverpool team, so I will big up Mamadou Sakho as much as possible.
I think you're going to see Matip, Sakho, Lovren and Touré be the kind of 4 centre-backs that will be in and about. But I don't want to see our back 4 and our centre-backs change every week. I want us to play Matip and Sakho, even if they have bad games, let them play. Because one of the problems that Liverpool have had for years now is there has not been a centre-back partnership really since Agger and Skrtel. It's just been.
I like that we've gone after quite a good defender now.
Yep.
We've gone.
Well,
how much confidence does that give to our current centre backs? Like, we are so in need of one. We're signing one in February, not even March, February.
Well, Klopp obviously has his targets in mind. So.
He's seen Kolo score and gone, right, you and Cork are up front, right, now we need another centre back.
Yeah, I like that. Do you know what? Corker and Torre would do a more menacing job than Benteke at the moment. It's not. I hate to get on the Benteke.
Do you reckon you could get them
wagon.
one on top of the other guy's shoulders and they could get away with being one person?
Yeah, they would try and go to the cinema as one person. Things
Shall
like
we
that.
do another question?
Oh, go on then.
I was
Ruin
having
our
fun there answering that one, but no fun allowed.
Matt
We're kind of off the
Lockie.
rails, apparently.
Matt Lockie, if fit, do Sturridge out and or Welbeck make the England squad? I guess it depends on form, really. I mean, we don't really know how much they're going to.
I think Sturridge is more assured a place if there was one space up for grabs and they both they didn't.
But you have to factor in. You have to
Roy
factor
likes
in.
Welbeck.
Yes, that Roy is a big Danny Welbeck fan. Just in terms of, I guess it's a similar way. He brings a similar sort of dimension to England that he does to Arsenal. A little bit more pace, direct. Maybe even more so than Sturridge. I mean, the problem for those two is that with Wayne Rooney picking up form, there are now 3 in form, quality number
Austin,
9 options.
Kane, Ings. Yeah.
I mean, I can't be bothered.
After we pass the hour mark, we reach that point where Charlie Austin. It's like the watershed, but it's for Charlie Austin.
Can I just say, if Charlie Austin goes to the Euros and scores, I look like a prophet.
He's not going to
going.
Euros.
I believe.
He's not. Jack, if he goes because he scores 10 until after the end of the season, I am all for it, mate. But he's not going. Let it go.
He's going to score.
Please let it go.
Southampton top 4. Heard it here first.
Okay. Well,
Ben, what do you think about these two?
Well, in terms of England, Keno, I actually think Roy's got quite a dilemma, and a good dilemma, and it doesn't involve Danny Ings or Charlie Austin, but he's got Walcott, Sterling, Welbeck, Sturridge, Kane, Vardy, Rooney. I don't think he can take them all. And if they're all playing well and they're all fit, I think a lot of people would be like, let's just take them all. But I don't think he can. So who's he going to leave out of that bunch? Who do you leave at home? Rooney, Kane, Vardy, Welbeck, and Sturridge.
Welbeck and Rooney.
2 of them.
I think
Austin's got to be in there somewhere.
I think you can shut up. I think you can factor out Rooney. Really, I mean, not as
Rooney's going to go.
You've just got it in my
go.
mind. Yeah, no, you can factor out Sturridge. I think because of the injuries. No.
Do you think? No, do you honestly think you can factor out Sturridge? Because I think if he stays fit, which is the biggest question mark of all.
Well, that's
if he stays fit, you definitely take him. For my money, he's the best striker England have got.
He just seems to come back from all these injuries. He has to score immediately. It's like he doesn't
seem
like to be one of
Villa
these players who takes a while to ramp up.
Yeah, Sturridge just barely played this year. He's got 3 against Villa. I love that. He's played about 6 games. He's got 3 goals against Villa.
Can Villa go to the Euros?
Tim showed us how much they too, and he put the question to him. Oh, well, if Sturridge stays in this sort of form, he's got to go to the Euros, hasn't he? And then you had Sherwood go, yeah, we know Daddy, but we fit all this season. Came against us, scored 2, didn't he? God, it was hilarious. Oh, it was great. Sherwood looked so upset that Daniel Sturridge. It was like the anger aimed at Daniel Sturridge. Oh, he's doing that bloody dance. You couldn't believe what he did. It was hilarious. Anyway, can we go on to another question? I feel like it's a difficult question to answer.
It's without the sort of the form sort of chart.
Yeah, we'll tell you in May. How's that? Keep it on the low profile for now.
I could tell you what I'd say now.
Next.
There's lots of quite a few England questions actually, but we'll leave them for in a few months' time, like you say.
Reece Jones's question's good.
Reece Jones.
Like a good question.
With United losing this weekend, is the top 4 sealed off, or can Southampton break in? We've just mentioned about Ninja Southampton sneaking their way.
Depends on if Austin gets 10.
Right, forget the question. Sorry, Reece, Jack's ruined it.
He asked that on purpose because he knew he was going to trigger Jack. So
I'm triggered by any it's bad.
Well, can we can we ignore Wixie FM's question? I'm sorry to bring it up, but I mean, if you boys just want to read it and not read it aloud,
why not have both?
Brilliant. Any other questions that we could go for?
Yeah, each
Kieran
of you
Ball.
rank our top 5 top 5 teams purely off how much we like them. That was from Kieran Ball.
that's quite a good one, actually.
I do quite like that question. Kieran Ball had another good question. Will Wenger retire if Arsenal win the league? In a word?
I think he should retire regardless at the end of this year.
Yes, I think he should as well.
I think he should. I don't know if he will, but I think he should.
Kieran Ball's second question, also very good. Each of you, okay, so yeah, I'll read it again. Boys, think about your answers. Each of you rank your top 5 teams purely on how much you like them.
I presume from the current sort of top 6, right? You know, from a...
No, I think he just means...
Any football team in the world.
Oh, no,
just the Premier League, right?
Oh, I
Who do you
don't
like
know.
in the Premier League? I'll put Liverpool at the top, as will Jack.
This is why it's silly, because we should do it on the teams that are in the top 6, because we might not necessarily like them very much.
Okay, the top 6 then.
Which is the test.
United are 6.
I will see. People won't like what I'm about to say here. I don't dislike City, so I'll put City near the top. I don't know why. I'm saying this.
Surely you got about Leicester.
City, Southampton, Tottenham, Leicester, Arsenal, United. Yeah.
Southampton, Leicester, Spurs, City, Arsenal, United.
Yeah, fair enough. Callum? This is actually the most interesting one.
Now, I don't have any animosity towards fellow Midlands club Leicester, really. They're one of the ones that doesn't really... I mean, some Villa fans might disagree, but I don't mind them. And I think on current sort of situation, I'd go with them top. I'm sort of in your boat in the sense that I don't mind Man City as much because I like what they're trying to do, like long term. It's not a sort of Chelsea project to me. So I would go with Leicester, then City, then Spurs,
What about
Arsenal.
Southampton?
Southampton, sort of ambivalent towards
No
them,
love
really.
for Chaz.
No.
Just give it a rest. Oh,
I don't have a podcast about Southampton.
And then United.
Fantastic pod. Can we edit Jack out for the last 20 minutes?
Yeah, it's done.
We'll end the questions there. Thank you for just the questions. If you've got any more at For The Fans Show, we'll read out the best ones and try and answer them. I mean, this week it's been shambolic. But yeah, if you want to send those in.
I feel like that last question that we answered, we just kind of interpreted it ourselves and changed the question.
No. It was based on who we like. I think it was sort of preference.
Kieran, if you've listened, please tweet us again asking if you'd like that answered better next week.
If you didn't
be as
mean
specific as you like.
If you didn't mean it in that way, let us know.
Right, thank goodness we're at this point. That brings us to the end of this week's For The Fans Show. I'd like to thank Jack and Kino for joining me, boys. Pleasure.
Thank you.
No problem.
Lovely. To find us, forthefanshow.com with all the relevant links if you want to be more particular with that. youtube.com/forthefanshow, Twitter @forthefanshow, and iTunes For The Fans Show. If you enjoy the show and you've listened on iTunes, please give it a rating. And that brings us to the end. From me, Dr. Benji, from Jack, Kino, and myself, we'll see you again soon. We love with care. Goodbye.
You said you twice.
Jack said Charlie Austin 9 times. You see me fucking complaining.